Hello, BookTube. Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. A Saturday here in Boston. It's the height of the day had a touch of warmth to it, a touch of summer. It was actually warm. It was shirt sleeve weather. And I don't know if that will continue. Uh, I have no idea if the weather is going to turn severe. I have a feeling that in the upcoming week there's going to be a great deal of rain. But every time the charts or the figures or the depressions or whatever show that, 9 times out of 10, that ends up not being true, and we just don't get any rain. So either way, it's going to go down into the mid or low 50s Fahrenheit at night, uh, which makes it a good thing that I had my surly houseboy remove the AC units from the windows here at Hyde Cottage. There were 3 of them chugging along, making the whole place completely habitable. Wish I had thought to multiply those units before I had some guests over last month when it got a little warm. I wish I had thought to do that, but they're gone now. The warmest I think we're going to get at the warmth of the day, except for freakish exceptions, won't be anything that that a box fan can't handle. So there's no reason to have those AC units. Those AC units could be wrestled out of the windows. The windows could be put back in shape after having been adapted to them. And then room could be found for the AC units, which weigh 1,000,000 pounds. And they have to go somewhere for October. It's early October now. So October, November, December, January, February, and March. That's 6 months that those units will have to be away. And it'll be April, May, June, July, August that we'll start to be thinking about them again. And I have some mail to go through with you. I'm sorry for the change in location. I realize that with this location, it's familiar. We filmed a lot of videos in this location. I realize in this location, you are not getting Frida. I'm rationalizing this because this was more convenient for me today, and also because Frida was showing a penchant for sleeping next to me, for cuddling up next to me on the fainting couch during videos, so that she wasn't visible to you anyway. And I'm sure you're not going to have the cobbles to tell Lord Ganesha to his face that he's not sufficient. So we're back here. This also rather neatly displays the split brain. I mean, it's a split screen. It's the split brain of Steve's reading taste. But we have some packages here, including a box. But the first package is neither an envelope nor a box. It is a squishy thing. This is from Bill Rutenberg from the Rutenberg Library here on BookTube, who is in Iowa. Not just Iowa, but small town Iowa, which is a venue I used to know and love. I have spent a great deal of time in small town Iowa. And he has sent me a present. Now, does this present violate rule number 1? I don't think so. It's obviously not a book. And rule number 1 is don't send me a book. You're perfectly free to send me other things, including fully functional but totally unused tech that you have. Especially touchscreen tech. An iPad or a tablet of some kind, an iPad mini of some kind. If you have tech like that that's just sitting somewhere in a cabinet because you have a later version that's the one you use, but there's nothing wrong with the old one, provided it's not first-gen iPad, which the first-gen iPad has really sort of been aged out of usability. You have to hack it all to hell and gone to get it to do anything, and even then the processing power is so weak that even if you do get it to do something, it's not going to be able to do much. iPads 2, the second generation iPad, can still do quite a bit, and any iPad after that, of course, is still getting updates. If you have something like that in a little junk cabinet that you never look at, go find it, sort out the power cord, put it in a padded envelope, and send it to Steve. But not books. But this is not a book. What have we got here? Oh my. Oh, it's the black and gold of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Oh man, it's an Iowa sweatshirt, a hooded Iowa sweatshirt. I haven't had one of these in a long time. I had one exactly like this. The colors of the Iowa Hawkeyes are black and gold, and I used to have one of these. Every self-respecting resident of Iowa City had one of these, and I haven't had one in forever, and now I do. Wasn't that nice of Bill? Good Lord. If you're watching, thank you so much. Still too late summery for hoodies around here, but I don't think it will be long. The end of October will be the time. The beginning of October, no. End of October, I'm thinking will be the time for our hoodies. But then we have a couple of thin envelopes and a thin box. All the mail from publishers today is thin. Very distressing. What good could possibly come? Okay, what is this first one? It's a paperback original from Other Press. I'm just going to use the space that I've got here. It's a paperback original from Other Press, and it comes out in late October, late this month. It's very, very well designed. It's A Long Way from Douala by Max Loeb. And this is what it's going to look like in your bookstore. And Max Loeb was born in Cameroon. At 18, he moved to Switzerland, where he earned a BA in Communications and Journalism and a Master's in Public Policy and Administration. So no writing. In 2017, his novel Confidences won the Amadou Kourouma Prize. And this book was published in 2018 to rave reviews in Switzerland and France. And he lives currently in Geneva. So did he write this in a different language? Yes, he wrote it in French. So this is translated from the French by Roz Swart. And what have we got here? This set in 2014 against the looming threat of Boko Haram. This book punches with a tale of women, with a tale woven of both fraught, wild danger and love, hope and humor. In his English language debut, Cameroonian Swiss author Max Loeb employs terse, lively chapters to chart the journeys of teenagers Jean and Simon as they leave home and set out on an odyssey in search of Jean's brother Roger, who has fled to pursue his dream of soccer stardom in Europe. Moments of levity sit alongside turns of tragedy as Loeb vividly weaves the culture of Cameroon from makossa, a type of bass-heavy music, to tourne-dos, roadside restaurants, and the marrying of Camfranglais vernacular into the narrative, a hybrid tongue that blends French, English, Pidgin, and languages local to Cameroon, of which there are more than 200. Part travelogue, part coming-of-age tale, this book's singular comedic voice sparkles and anchors this memorable debut. Okay, but it's a novel, right? Right? Didn't you say that? Did you say this was a novel? Yeah. So it can't be part travelogue and part coming-of-age tale. It can have travelogue-y bits in it, but it's a novel. Well, we'll see. This is going to be a paperback original. That's great. And this is the English language debut of this author. Has a very good review from Kirkus printed on here. This is going to be $16 in your bookstore in late October. An eye-catching thing. You'll have no trouble seeing it in your bookstores. But is Other Press big enough to be in your bookstore? I don't really know. If it isn't, and you're interested in Boko Haram and Cameroonian history, you'll know that it's there. You'll be able to ask for it. Maybe get your library to get it. Let's see. Let's see what this next one is. Also, distressingly thin. Distressingly skinny. I was wondering how many seconds it would take for something to fall not just into my lap or onto the chair, but all the way to the floor. And I'm kind of amazed that it didn't fall through a crack in the floorboards all the way to the basement, and then maybe through a crack in the ground all the way to, I don't know, the center of the earth. I'm kind of amazed that it took that long to happen. So what have we got? That is the one weakness of this area, is that there's no storage space at all. So this is also going to be a hardcover, but it's only going to be $20. It's a tiny little thing. Lemon by Quanyeon Sun. It's a tiny little thing. So it's going to be a little hardcover for $20. And what have we got here? This comes out, again, at the end of October. And it deftly explores the grief, trauma, and class and privilege. This novella was originally published as a short story in 2016 for the 50th anniversary of Changjak and Byeongang and Bipyeong under the title You Do Not Know, which was also adapted into a play of the same title. It was later revised and expanded to become Lemon. Sure to resonate with readers of Han Kang's The Vegetarian and Human Acts, and those who love Bong Joon-ho's Oscar-winning film Parasite, this piercingly psychological portrait takes the shape of a crime novel, follows a woman haunted by her sister's unsolved murder, and the transformation she undergoes in order to cope with the pain of absence and unknowing. That's a lot for something this small to tackle. In the summer of 2002, when Korea is abuzz with the Korea-Japan FIFA World Cup, again with soccer, that's in both these books, a beautiful 19-year-old girl named Hae-on is murdered in what would become known as the high school beauty murder. There are two suspects, a rich boy, whose car Hae-on was last seen in, and a working-class delivery boy who witnesses her in the passenger seat of that car just a few hours before her death. The novel begins with a scene in which her younger sister, Daeon, imagines a police detective interrogating Han Manu, one of the, who is that? That is the delivery boy. When no evidence can be pinned on him, and the rich boy's alibi turns out to be solid, the identity of the murderer is left unsolved. The case remains a mystery for years, throwing those surrounding the events into turmoil, especially Daeon, who is unable to move on with her life following her sister's disappearance and murder. Interesting. Okay, so this is a long provenance before it came to us in this form. This comes out at the end of October in a $20 hardcover. Is this also translated? Yes, translated from the Korean by Janet Hong. So these two little books, both hinge on soccer. Both are tiny. They'll take you an hour to read. And both are translated. Very interesting. Very good. And they're not. Neither one of them is going to be very expensive when they finally reach you. And then we've got this. This last one is a box. It is fragmenting as I touch it because it's just that kind of a mail haul. And it's tiny. So what have we got here? Oh, okay. We saw this already. Is this a double? This must be a double. Well, I have no information about it, but we saw this already. This is The Record of Murders and Outrages, Racial Violence and the Fight Over Truth at the Dawn of Reconstruction by William Blair. Again, a tiny little thing. So everything today, if I were to read all of these things, it would take me probably 90 minutes to read them all. What have we got here? After the Civil War's end, reports surged of violence by Southern whites against Union troops and black men, women, and children. While some in Washington, D.C. sought to downplay the growing evidence of atrocities, in September 1866, Freedmen's Bureau Commissioner O.O. Howard requested that assistant commissioners in the readmitted states compile reports of murders and outrages to catalog the extent of violence, to prove that the reports of a peaceful South were wrong, and to argue in to prove that the reports of a peaceful South were wrong, and to argue in Congress for the necessity of martial law. What ensued was one of the most fascinating and least understood fights of the Reconstruction era, a political and analytical fight over information and its validity, its implications that dealt with life and death. Okay, well, like I mentioned when we got the first copy of this, I don't know much about this time period. So, and now that I have a double, one of them will be on its way to Iowa, to the Rutenberg Library. Unless I've sent it already, but I don't think I have. But either way, I mean, these all sound interesting, but that's 300 pages total. Which is a little disappointing for Steve. I flossed my teeth in 300 pages, but still, that is our fittingly lightweight weekend mail haul. There's no great huge bundles here of any kind. That plus an Iowa Hawkeye sweatshirt that I'm going to use all winter. So that is the highlight of the mail haul. Is not a book, but anyway, if more mail comes later today, as happens on Saturday, sometimes I'll get a ninja mail delivery. We'll just roll that over until tomorrow. I will leave it unopened so that we can experience it together. So I'm going to wrap this up, but I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.